This lecture is titled The Roman Republic. However, we're not going to be talking about the political structure of the Roman Republic, like the consuls and the senators and the tribunes. We'll be doing that in the next lecture. This is just going to be talking about basically the culture of the Roman Republic. We'll be talking about the gods, and we'll also be talking about the citizens. I have right there that the Romans were not original. You can't really call the Romans original. They interact with other cultures, they find out what works or what they like, and then they basically copy it. They copy theater, sculpture, military tactics, even ideas and mythology and stuff like that. Mostly from the Greeks, but also from others. A good example of this was I was at the British National Museum in London. And I walked into this room and I thought, wow, look at all this Greek sculpture. And then I looked at the plaques next to the sculpture, and every single one of them said, Roman copy of the Greek sculpture blank. Every single one said Roman copy of, Roman copy of. So what they did was they saw what they liked, and then they just copied it. They made hundreds of them. So let's talk about the religion. Here's some pictures that I put up here. Here we got Zeus on the left, right? And then we got Jupiter. Basically, same person, same god, but they changed their name and their location. So that's why I've got the Witness Protection Program on there. It's basically the Witness Protection Program for the gods. So we're going to go through some of the main gods that we've already talked about before. I'm going to give you their Roman name, and then you're going to tell me their Greek name. So starting out with Jupiter, he's a king of the gods. Remember, his symbol is the eagle, because the eagle goes down and gets his thunderbolts. His Greek name is Zeus. Okay, we got Juno. This is Jupiter's wife. She still has the symbol of the peacock. She's also very jealous still, doesn't like Zeus and his little girly friends, either goddesses or mortals. So her Greek name is Hera. Okay, we got Mercury here. He's still the god of messages and of messengers and of merchants. He still flies around. His symbol is the winged shoe. And his Greek name was Hermes. Okay, here we have Venus. Remember this picture I showed you earlier, this is called the birth of Venus. She's a goddess of love and beauty, symbol the dove and flower bloom. So her Greek name was Aphrodite. Okay, here we got Neptune. He still has that trident that can either create tidal waves or earthquakes. This is a Maytag washing machine called the Maytag Neptune. So, you know, water, little tidal wave inside there. What was his Greek name? Poseidon. Okay, here we have Minerva. She was still born out of Zeus's head. Goddess of war and wisdom. Her symbol is still the owl and the breastplate. What was her Greek name? Athena. We got Mars, god of war, symbol dog and vulture. He's still kind of disliked by the other gods. He's always causing trouble. His Greek name is Ares. Vulcan, this guy is a god of fire and blacksmith. This is where we get the word volcano from. His symbol is the anvil. His Greek name is Hephaestus. Remember, they use him to explain shooting stars because when he hammers, the sparks that fly off his hammer are shooting stars. He was also seen as kind of the ugly god that Jupiter married off to Venus. Okay, here we've got Pluto. He's the god of the underworld. His Greek name is Hades. So here we got proof that Disney really is the devil. Disney lies to you. Remember, we talked about how Hercules has a bunch of lies in it. So here's some more proof that Disney is the devil. Okay, so when people started naming all of our planets, they named them after gods. So let's take a minute and let's figure out why they named them what they did. Now, Saturn and Uranus, those are also Greek mythology and Roman mythology names, but we're not going to be talking about them. Okay, so let's name the other ones. So here we've got this big, enormous planet right here. What do they name that? That's Jupiter, obviously, because it's the biggest. Then we've got this blue planet. Looks kind of like water. So they named that Neptune. Here we got the red planet. The color of blood. So they named this Mars. And here we have this beautiful planet that sometimes we see in the sky, and it's the brightest object other than the moon and the sun. And it's really seen as just gorgeous. That's Venus. And then right here we've got a planet that circles really, really fast around the sun. They named that Neptune. And then way out here, I don't know if you can call it a planet anymore, but they called this Pluto, god of the underworld, because it's so far away from the sun. So let's talk about monarchy is formed. The Etruscans, remember, were to the north of the Latins, and they actually consolidated or brought the Latin villages together, and they ruled with the king. They did a lot for them, actually. They built cities where the Latins were just shepherds, and they didn't really do much. But after about 200 years, these kings ruled pretty harshly. The last one was called Tarquin the Proud, and the people overthrew him. So remember, when the people overthrow a government, what's the type of government that they establish? Likely they're going to establish rule of the people or democracy. One interesting thing is that they swore that if they ever had a king again, they would kill him. So we're going to talk about Caesar later on this unit. So the question is, were they breaking the law when they killed Caesar, or were they upholding the law? And it all depends on what were Caesar's intentions. Did he want to become king, or did he not? They formed this new kind of democracy that was a representative democracy, and they called it the Republic. So let's talk about, what does that mean, representative democracy? Our government is a representative democracy. It's our thought that we elect people that are smarter and that are more moral than us, that basically understand what we need more than we do to lead us. The thought here is we didn't want our government to slip into mob rule like it did in Athens, and neither did the Romans. So we actually copy Roman democracy more closely than we do Greek democracy, which is called a direct democracy. We have a representative democracy. Think about this map right here. This is basically showing us how many representatives we have in the House of Representatives, and it goes according to our population. We also elect senators, presidents, to rule over us and to make laws for us. Now, all these political leaders are going to meet in what's called the Forum. Here is a picture of what the Forum would have looked like back then. You go there today, and it's basically in ruins. I have some pictures here I'd like to show you. These are pictures that I took when I was there. We can see that the Forum is basically in ruins. That's me, and then that's my sister, Chris. Say hello. Okay, so if you wanted to be a citizen in Rome, what were the qualifications? You had to be male. If you're going to vote, if you're going to hold office, you cannot be female. You couldn't be a slave. You had to be free. And you had to own land. Those are the main ones, and there was some others, but those are really the main ones you should remember. Now there's two types of citizens. There's the patricians. They're the rich, aristocratic landowners. They're powerful, and they get their power from their daddies. Basically, it's inherited. These guys can do anything in government. They can vote and hold office. Here's how I remember the word patrician. If I had a big stack of money, if I was rich, I wouldn't want to part with any of it. So patricians don't part with their money or power. So then we have the plebeians. This makes up the largest portion of the population, the majority of the population. These guys are the workers. They're the merchants, they're the soldiers, they're the craftsmen, the farmers. They can vote, but they cannot hold office. These are two terms that we're going to use constantly, so you should really remember those. Remember, patricians don't part with their money, they're the rich. And then the plebeians, they plead for money. So the plebeians plead for money and power because they don't have any.